the situation is bad, but it could get worse before it gets better, because we're told that although the VRA has spilled a lot of water, much more water is to be spilled. So that's the problem. Now, the VRA has spilled over 230,000 cubic feet of water, or discharged. That's the right word to use, discharged. Now, but in spite of this, the Volta Lake level rose another 0.12 feet yesterday. So this is very serious. Now, if you've seen the stories we've done, you already have entire communities submerged underwater. Like when you look at the footage, you see people on canoes, and the canoe is at the lintel level of a house. All right, so like a whole community is underwater. Now, what you're seeing is that the VRA spilled 235,000 cubic meters of water. But on Saturday, the dam level rose another 0.12 feet.
So they have to spill it.
Now, the second problem is the Pong. Now, Pong is downstream the Akosombo Dam. Pong Dam water level is at 8 feet, which is about 5 feet higher than the regular 3.5 feet is supposed to be. So regularly, Pong Dam is at 3 feet. It's now 5 feet more. So it's 8 feet. So the spillage from Akosombo will have to be more. Again, from our calculations, the spillage from Pong may also have to continue. So what you're seeing on the TV screens and on those videos, you've not seen the worst, because more water is going to come. That's point number one. Problem number two, we are in a rainy season. You remember I spoke to the Ghana Meteo Agency 2 weeks ago when they said to me, we're going to have more rains.
Yes.
Now, don't forget that originally the water level has risen because of rains in Mali, Burkina Faso, and northern Ghana. But now the new rains will also be in the south. So it's like a double tragedy. So we are going to have a worse situation. Now, this weekend, I got calls from Mepe, Bato, and areas, particularly in the central town district, where people say they didn't have drinking water, they didn't have beds to sleep on, they were basically sleeping outside, and they didn't have, like imagine, tents, they need tents and mosquito nets and things like this. So Sky is compiling a list of things we need with the help of Fred, and we're going to announce what people need. And I think we need to, I want to dedicate today's show to just highlighting the seriousness of the situation and raising support for the people who have been affected by the flooding. Now, I need to also say that there are about at least 10 constituencies affected by this. So Sojaman itself, then you have North Tong, which is capital at Juapong. Mm-hmm. And then you have Central Tong, you have South Tong, then you have Sai Osudoku. Then you have Adan East and Adan West. You possibly have Sege. All right. Then you go to Volta itself, down south in Volta. You can have those other places, because this morning I've seen pictures from the beaches of, I think, Keta area, where debris has accumulated on the sea. All right. So it's a very serious situation. Over the weekend, I was going through some material on the southern Volta, on the southern of the Volta Basin.
Yes.
All right. So the areas that have been affected, if I just can go through specific communities again, it's a very serious situation. All right. So the districts include Dangbe East, Dangbe West, South Tong, North Tong, and Central Tong, Asuojaman, and then Shai Osudoku. All right. And then there's also a health crisis emerging, because very unfortunate, there was a report done by Desmond Ago, Selassie Ago, from Mepe. And you have water. So, Sky, think about it. A public toilet has been overrun by flood waters.
That's disastrous.
So everything in that thing is in the water. And now what the health official is telling us is that now people have to use that water. They are using. So I am thinking that the most pressing need now is water, because if it's then, in fact, let me not even talk much. Here's Desmond Ago's report which will paint a better picture for you. Then you can understand the seriousness of what we are saying.
Healthcare challenges persist in the flood-affected town district of the Volta region. The flooding, triggered by the Akosombo Dam spillage, has disrupted the local healthcare system. Contaminated water due to inundated public latrines poses a serious health risk. Access to clean water remains scarce, forcing residents to use contaminated water for daily activities. Stella Kumejo, the Volta Regional Environmental Health Officer, emphasizes the need for safe drinking water in these communities.
Myself, I went to visit a safe haven, and I asked to have a look at where they use themselves, their toilet. It was a traditional pit latrine, and even the path leading to the pit latrine was overgrown with weeds, and it will not encourage people to go there. Those that even tried to access there, I realized they defecated around the toilet. I entered, took shots of whatever is happening. It was very terrible. We saw some of the toilets submerged under the water. So it means all the contents in those toilets are mixed up with the flood water. And at the end of the day, most of the people I saw still use those surface water for cooking, for bathing, and for other household chores. So the implication to public health is it will trigger water-related diseases, skin rashes, diarrhea, typhoid, and what have you. And so it is a very terrible situation at hand. I want to appeal to all well-meaning Ghanaians.
Michael Kofiziga, the North Town District Health Director, highlights how the flood has disrupted healthcare services. He underscores the importance of disease surveillance and the ongoing immunization campaign for children. Furthermore, the distribution of mosquito nets aims to protect life. Mr. Ziga urges the District Assembly and NADMO to provide mobile toilets.
Currently, a lot of communities have been displaced in the district. So once communities are displaced, what it means is that they will not have access to the regular facilities that they need to have access to. They will not have access to potable water, they don't have access to sanitary facilities, and then routine health services they wouldn't be able to have access to it, because now it's more or less like a camp out or a safe haven. And then that is affecting service delivery, but that is affecting the health of the people, because now there are people with different backgrounds and different health conditions being accommodated here. But then the fortunate thing is that as a district, we have managed to operationalize a mobile clinic here. A mobile clinic to just take care of minor conditions. And then also keep a close watch on the people, so that in case there is any incidents of any health events that is we've not recorded before, we can quickly take up.
Dr. Senanu Jokutu, Deputy Health Director for Public Health, appeals for support for both the affected residents and the Ghana Health Service staff.
We are mobilizing all kinds of logistics. Specifically for health. For health, we are looking at both medicine and non-medicine consumables. So we've identified the gaps. We are putting our list together. We are costing it. We are reaching out to stakeholders from within and from without as well, to ensure that we get everything that we need. Our staff who have been displaced as well need support. Some of them, their entire house up to the roof level is full of water. They've lost some items. They need support. For our staff who are running mobile clinics as well, they would also need support in that regard. And most of the services that we render are to these people who are currently very vulnerable. Most of them have lost their insurance cards, so when they come to seek health care, they cannot depend on NHIS, so we have to give them medications for free. So all these would amount to some cost to the health service. And I'm sure that when we all pull together, we will be able to help.
So that was the Dr. Senanu Jokutu, who's the Deputy Volta Regional Health Director, speaking. So there's a humanitarian crisis, there's a health crisis. There's also an ecological crisis, an environmental crisis. So lots of things happening at the same time. Let me now read a couple of comments for you. The catchment area for this is very massive, Godfrey. So to make this simple for people, you are the Volta River, which was undammed. Yeah. So communities north of Atimpoku were basically depending on a river. Once you dam it at Atimpoku, large communities had to go underwater because you were blocking the water's movement, creating a man-made lake. So there were many communities northing of Atimpoku who, because of the dam, were submerged initially. So you had to resettle all of them. That's number one. Number two, when you created the dam, all communities south of Atimpoku were dried out initially because they were depending on the river's constant flow. But by damming it, you reduce the flow. So that was the original problem you created when the dam was created. Now, the opposite is happening in the sense that now those south of the dam are getting too much water. They've been used to a certain volume of water. Now they're getting too much of it. And then those north of the dam, I'm told, because the water level is rising, they are also getting too much water. In fact, this morning, a listener from Setre, Afram Plain, sent me a message. I'm going to read it to you. He said, "Good morning, Bernard and team. The flooding situation is affecting every community alone. Sorry. It's affecting every community along the Volta Afram Basin. In Ashanti region, the people of Setre Central District communities along the Afram Basin have been affected. And those communities have been cut off from the rest of the district capital in Suta. The Afram and Volta River merges and spillage is making life unbearable for the rural folks. We urge authorities to consider sending humanitarian supplies to those places." So he now sent me a video from Setre Central constituency and Drobonso. And this is Abraham Lincoln, a listener of Citi, sending me this report. So because the dam is blocking water flow, those north of the Volta are also getting rising water levels. So Afram can't empty as quickly as it should into Volta. Akosombo has to spill so that the areas north don't get inundated. But if Akosombo doesn't spill in a systematic way, everybody below will be submerged. Okay, now let me give you a sense of this volume of water. So when we talk about, 235,000 cubic feet of water. Now, 50,000 cubic feet of water is about 35 large-size water tankers. All right? So if you have 250,000, so multiply the 35 by another 5, all spilling at the same time. Add to rainwater coming. All right? And then add it to wetlands that can't absorb any more water. So it's a very dangerous situation. And I sense that the Akosombo Dam itself may be under threat. Because, as I said to you, the water level rose by close to 0.12 feet yesterday, on Saturday, even though they spilled that much water. Then Pong, which usually is 3.5, think about 3.5 meters. Now, I am 6 feet tall, so I'm like 1.8 meters. All right? So you can say Pong Dam is like twice my height, 3.5 meters. The water level is 8. 8. So that's me. So if I'm 6 feet, 6 feet is 1.8 meters. So that's about 5 times my height. That's where the water. So the water is almost 5 meters higher than the normal level. So Pong is under threat as well. Now, Pong substation has opened 12 out of 15 valves to allow the water to come. So as I'm talking to you, all the areas downside Pong are actually getting more water. Now, I'm going to call Fred Duho this morning. So he will give us the outline. He says the base of the Geographic bridge is just an arm's length away from touching the water. Now, the Geographic bridge is the main bridge that connects us to the Volta region on the south.
Yeah. Connects.
It's not as high as the Adomi bridge. Now, he's saying that the base of the bridge is just an arm's length away from touching the water.
I don't know how I feel.
Now, let's go through the areas. North Tong, capital of North Tong is Dwapong. This is Okudzeto Black Rice constituency. North Tong is the hardest hit. Mepe, which is in North Tong, is underwater. Mepe is the largest community affected. It's underwater. Central Tong has a lot of island communities, forgive me, which have been submerged. About 20 communities in Central Tong have been submerged. South Tong, so South Tong is Sogakope, for those who understand the Volta. So it's at Mepe and Japon North. Adidome is Central Town, and then South Town is Sogakope, right? South Town, almost all hotels along the river have their summer hut submerged. All hotels in South. I saw a video of this hotel.
Cisneros?
No, the one at the Sogakope Beach Resort with water on the road leading to it.
Wow.
All right. Now, Esojaman in the eastern region has also been affected. Adan East District has been affected. Anglo District has been affected. Keta Municipality has been affected. Ketu South has been affected. Now, he sends me, what do you call it? He sends me a video of the beaches in the Anglo District. Now, you know beaches better than I do. Look at what's going on here.
Oh.
So you see the debris has been collected from the buildings and the bushes and gone to the beach.
Yeah.
So fish is going to be affected. Quick correction. The capital of North Town is Bato. Forgive me. So I'm using the constituency. It's Bato. Forgive me. Thank you for the correction. Yeah. So again, going to the highlight. Akosombo has opened 8 out of 12 valves on Saturday. All right. Bon has opened 12 out of 15 valves. And yet the water level is still rising. So they're having to manage getting too much water down south, not compromising the dam itself, and then also not compromising those northing of the river, because Afram Plains people to say their water is rising. Do you get what's going on?
Yeah.
Then let's talk about the humanitarian situation. We have once you have a community submerged, it means that people cannot live. Everything they do in that area is gone. So the house they live in, whatever, is gone. All right. The need, therefore, is in order of priority. In order of priority, you definitely need water because of the water situation you described. Then you need definitely.
You need food, especially the ones that are not perishable. So you need food, preferably canned food, and those ones that are not perishable. So you're talking about rice and some other cereals that the people can quickly.
So water is number one, food number two. What's number three?
Yeah, then you also need mattresses because the people have left their homes.
And they are sleeping in like higher ground. Some are
Exactly.
sleeping in churches,
Yeah.
classrooms, hospitals.
Yeah.
So mattresses.
Mattresses. Then you're talking about blankets, yes. Blankets needed because the weather is not friendly these days, especially when you go to those areas. The weather is, you feel the cold that comes with sleeping in the night. Then you also need toiletries.
So that's what you call detergents and toiletries.
Yeah, that's right. So you need things they need to wash their hands. You need toilet paper and all of these things to keep their hygienic conditions sane and proper. Then, of course, if you go to that area, you know that there are a number of insects that disturb the people at night and then also during the day. So you're talking about insecticides possibly that they can use, and then mosquito nets to keep the mosquitoes away, because you don't want a menace of malaria also setting in and creating problems for the people. Then again, you need clothing because many people fled their homes without picking any item whatsoever. And so,
what about tents?
Yeah, tents.
And mosquito nets.
Tents and mosquito nets.
So in order of priority, you have water, food. Then you can put mattresses, tents, and mosquito nets, and blankets as one. All right. Then you have detergents and toiletries and insecticides as the next category.
Yeah, that's right.
And then
clothing.
Yeah, obviously you need money.
Yeah. And
so I think what we want to do is we want to use our rallying power to ask listeners to support.
Yeah.
Because we have a team on the ground who are speaking to the district and they are telling me that the situation is very dire. So Citi FM, Citi TV wants to coordinate part of the relief efforts. So we will be appealing this morning for water. If we get sachet water or bottled water,
super.
We'll be very happy to take.
Yeah.
Food, according to Sky, we need non-perishables.
Perishable, yes, because they don't have a way of storing the food.
So you need canned food. You need food that is preserved in a can that they can then eat.
That's right.
So you need food. Then you need mattresses, blankets, tents, and mosquito nets.
Yeah.
All right, that's number 3. Number 4, we need detergents, toiletries,
Yeah.
and soap.
So, yeah.
And then insecticide. And then, of course, money.
Money.
All right.
Bernard, clothing also. But I want to add that, you see, because we've been told that some of the people still rely on the Volta Lake as a source of water. Of course, they've taken it in already. There's a likelihood that we may have waterborne diseases,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
just springing up like that.
Yes.
So immediately, the people who are into production of, if you like, medicines capable of dealing with some of these things.
Yeah.
I believe we have a number of, traditional local pharmaceutical companies that should also look at the situation and see how they can also support us, so that we can send some, emergency medication and related matters or items to them, so that if anything happens,
Okay.
they'll be able to rely on some of these things.
Okay. All right, so this is a Citi Breakfast Show. We're dedicating this morning to highlighting the challenges faced by communities downstream of the Volta Lake. The Volta River Authority has spilled over 230,000 cubic feet of water, and the water level is still rising in the Akosombo Dam. They've opened 12 out of their 15 spillways. Water level is rising. Water level in the Pond Dam is rising, and therefore they've had to spill more water. Entire communities have been submerged in some areas. We are talking about, and I'm going to go to the list again. There are about 10 districts or more directly downstream of Akosombo: North Tone, Central Tone, South Tone, Shai Osudoku, Dangbe East, Dangbe West, Keta, Ketu South. Now, in terms of communities affected, North Tone has been the hardest hit. Mefe is underwater. This is the largest community. Central Tone, a lot of island communities have been submerged, about 20, based on the checking of our reporters on the ground. South Tone, which is Sogakope. So again, if you think about North Tone, you're thinking about Bato and Juapong. If you think about Central Tone, you're thinking about Adidome. If you think about South Tone, you're thinking about Sogakope. A Sojaman district has been hardly affected. In fact, let me give you a report from a Sojaman in the eastern region to just give you an idea of the situation there as well.
It happened about getting to 2 weeks now.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
What was in there before the destruction? Did you have any belongings in there? Or you were able to evacuate your things from the room?
Yeah. We removed the things from the room before the things happened.
So where do you stay now? Where do you live now?
I'm sleeping at the stool top.
At
The stool top.
do you have another house over there?
No. If it is night, then I will lay some small bed on the ground and I sleep.
I mean, but this looks like it's a close-knit community. You can't spend the night with some of your family members or friends.
Everybody has his wife, and there is no room for me again.
So how are you expected to build this back up when the water recedes? You be able to build yourself, or you need help from somewhere to be able to build it?
And always we are crying for the government that they should come and help us. Especially the council, Asojamai Council, the DC.
Oh, the thing that's happening is impromptu. So the very people must give us alert so that they spill the water. Today, let's see, 2 days, then they open the water. We too don't know what we can do, so that we just leave our fish, 30,000 of fishes they have left. So a lot of our money gone. As you can see of the water, people cages are damaged. People cages are damaged. So we are pleading up for the government that if they have something for us, they should quickly do it for us, so that we can survive. So as I'm speaking here, you yourself, you can see that my speaking is not going through. Our money that we lost is not small money.
About how much money has been lost here?
Oh, plenty money. I can't sell it. Billion upon billion.
About how many fishes were in the cage?
Each cages contain 12,000. So each
12,000. What kind of fish? Tilapia.
tilapia, I will do tilapia. So as the thing happened like that, all the fishes have gone. So you can't do anything about it.
In a recent time, we have a notification from VRA that there would be a spillage, but actually they told us that, and it wasn't long ago when they started the spillage. So we have lost a big money.
So you didn't have enough time to prepare and salvage as much as you could.
No. We have not got enough time. You know, like announcement came the next day or the next night until the next morning, then the spillage started. So we have not gotten that adequacy to get our fishes and our items salvaged. I have lost a lot of money, and you know, some of these monies are not directly from my own pocket. I've started this so very young. I've started, you know, in our lives, you know, it's not everybody that have to go through this formal education to become whatever. So we, by our own small way, we have this mentality that we want to be entrepreneurs. So as we are living by the water, it's a big opportunity, and we take up this opportunity. Before this happening, you know, we have lost a lot of money.
What do you want VRA, the authorities, members of parliament, the government to do for you?
Well, right now we are pleading on the cooperative, but the government, the non-government organizations, and everybody across the world, whatever agency, as an individual, whatever it is, we really need your help, because it's not easy. You know, starting, you know, all of a sudden you've lost all your investment. If God doesn't take care, you know, we will not be able to come back to our normal. It's not easy at all, because a lot of big farms have been affected. You know, mine is just a small setup, but you could just imagine the kind of money or the kind of damages I'm facing through right now.
Yes, I spillage no. VRA phone baha no wedding come.
Omu baha 3 days stamp no mu bue dam. Enti ye ya humboya bi ansa no mu bue dam.
3 days.
3 days stamp ansa no mu bue dam. Mu ba wokuda ya woda fida no mu bue dam.
Enti we see ewie etwe no wan na baha omo abaha na mofo abaha na obi fufura abaha ba behwese na mo hote.
Ya asase wura ne ba. Ene MP bae. Ene VRA for anagbo for bae.
Omo ba den no mo de bre.
Omo fa hwembre. Omo fa hwembre. Na do for so so omo ko kire ansa no ba se yenti won kai.
MP Subai aseme no ka chem.
Also kwa ko hu VRA management no mo be san bae ho. And that's who MPP for one pious umso abaha. And so one abodan bubu ye no obama won 60 million ona o chiche ma won kakra na omo kakra bi ona o chiche ma won kakra
sia one wo man for sia mo ho te sen sia mo ntumi nya adwuma bi mu.
Oh ya ahoton de e wo ho na so adwuma na e di ma ye na so ye manage ye hu kakra ansa na ye hwe se then government meya amayana.
4 minutes past the hour of 8 City Breakfast Show. Special show this morning dedicated to the Volta Basin, the spillage of the Volta Lake at Akosombo and Bong headworks, affecting communities all the way from Esuojaman through to North Tone, Central Tone, South Tone. We are talking Sinchi. We are talking Lolonyo. We are talking Pong. We are talking Akuse Togome. We are talking Shai Osudoku. We are talking Asuchari. We are talking Mepe. We are talking Adidome. We are talking Sogakope. We are talking Dangbe East, Dangbe West. We are talking Ada. We are talking Agnogan. We are talking Keta. These are It's unbelievable. So we're categorizing this in two ways. We're saying there's a humanitarian crisis, which can lead to a health crisis. There's an environmental, ecological. I'm going to speak to the VRA's Deputy Chief Executive, who's been on the ground the whole weekend. And he basically just landed from a chopper. He's actually at Mepe. And he will tell us what he knows about the situation. Good morning. Is that Engineer Kenzo?
Yes, please, Bernard.
Thank you for your time. So you just landed at Mepe. What have you observed so far this morning since you set off on your rounds?
Oh, well, today is the second day coming to Mepe. Yesterday we were here, and I think the situation is almost the same. At least we moved the communities which have been affected in Mepe to a state agent, that is the St. Kizito School. So at least we are here to also engage them and find out what is really happening and how best we can help them to relieve some of the stress and the silence.
Do you have an overview of the extent of devastation from the VRA perspective? My reporter tells me, for example, that the most affected areas are Mepe in the North Town district, where he believes the whole place has been submerged. He also says island communities in Central Town have been submerged, about 20 in all. And he says the situation in South Town is getting worse. Already, places like Asuojaman and Adam have also been affected. So does the VRA have a list of communities affected by the spillage south of Akosombo?
Yes, we do have that list. We know the communities that have been affected. Mepe, we say that was heavily affected because it's a very low-lying area. But it's not the entire, let's say, Mepe, which is submerged. I think we have some high-level areas that are not affected. That's why we are in St. Kizito School now, where most of the people affected have been moved to. Communities affected is from the eastern region, that's just Zaman, the Greater Accra, and then the Volta area. And these communities, we have them, we've noted them, and we are making sure they are all being attended to accordingly.
All right, let's go to when did you start the spilling, and what volume of water have you spilled so far?
We started the spilling on the 15th of September. We started, as we say, the control spilling. We did only 20 because before we started the spilling, we had to coordinate with all the agencies, the district assemblies, NADMO, and all that. We looked at our inundation map. We saw areas that were affected if we should go beyond some volumes of water. So we started with 20 September 15. When we started, we saw that the levels were still increasing behind the dam. So we went to 30, from 31 to 50. We stayed at 50, went to 70. Somewhere end of September, we saw the rate that the volumes inflow to the dam was reducing. So we came back to 50. Immediately came back to 50 within 2 days. The volume that were coming was cannot be there. So we have to go up to 90. And we stayed at 90. And then we said that no, this cannot be. Even though we are going to breach the dam, then we have to go to the 183 cubic feet per second on the 10th of October. And the 183 cubic feet of water is almost about around 4,800 meter cube of water per second. That is what we are discharging for that time, and that's what we are discharging at the moment. I have to just put it in perspective. If we are discharging with the normal water coming out of the dam, together it's about 6,600 meter cube of water per second. The volume of water behind the dam is 150 billion meter cube. 150 billion meter cube. And the gate that we have in Akosombo, as per design, we can open it up to 1 million cubic feet per second. Now, it's hoping we are only discharging 183 cubic feet per second. And this is what in expect that only 163 cubic feet of water is causing down.
So you're doing 183 cubic feet per second, which is about 4,800 meter cubed.
Yes, per second.
And this has risen from 20, 30, 50, 70 when you started. So which means that from September 15, you've been spilling all through to today, October 16.
Yes, that is true.
So if you put it together between September 15 and October 15, how much water have you spilled?
Volume of water, so that one maybe I have to go. It will be more of we have to average it from the 20 or the number of days. That is what I have to do. I think I've not done the total volume of water. So the water invariably is going straight into the dam. But what you should also understand is that some of the water is being held at the town head for power generation at Akosombo. So we say the entire volume of water which is coming is what we are spilling out. At least some is being held at the head pond of Stone. So we can get to those figures.
Yeah. We'll be interested in those. The other point is that we understand that even though we spilled this much water, as of even Saturday, the water level at Akosombo was still rising. Is this correct?
Very, very true. Averagely, we are receiving about 340,000 cubic feet of water since last week into the lake. At this time of the year, we should be receiving about averagely 125,000 cubic feet of water. That we are about 100%, 200% more than what we are expected to receive into the dam. Today's rise of the lake is about 0.05 feet. After yesterday, it was 0.1 feet. The day before, it was 0.12 feet. So at least there are projections that we've had over the period of time indicates that this time of the month going to the end of October, the water inflow to the Akosombo should start receding. And from there, we start monitoring and adjust the gate appropriately.
Why?
That there will be really surprise rainfalls into the dam that will cause the water level to go.
Why are you receiving over 200% more water around this time than you were in previous years?
I would say it's the storm formation from the eastern part of countries on our border indicates that there's a lot of water formation from the eastern part of our country into our country, and it follows directly on the lake. The tracking that we track, we've seen that at least the water is receding into the sea, so it's not really falling directly onto the lake. So that is what has contributed. But this phenomenon, we experienced it in 2010. The same tracking, the same volume of water. That we are experiencing this year. We experienced it in 2010. 2010 we did spillage. But the other thing is that because we've also been operating this dam especially efficiently, at least we're able to build a lot of water head. So we can see that any more amount of water that will come in beyond the normal expectation projections by the meteorological department across the world. We said that it was going to be a El Nino year, which we are not expecting a lot of water. Per our track, we're not supposed to fill at all. But we said that, look, this thing, the rains coming in is going to increase, and definitely we need to open to save the dam. That's why we say that the amount of water coming is so great, affecting us to open the gate.
Now, has this been worsened by spilling of Bagri Dam, or have there been developments in Burkina Faso, Mali, and northern Togo, which have affected us?
Bagri Dam, every year they open, we don't spill, we don't open our gates. I would say Bagri Dam is affecting the amount of water coming to the dam, so we are spilling. We think there's some volumes also coming from Togo part of our border into the lake. which we also try to engage in a Ghana Water Resource Commission to find out the volume of water that is coming from the tributaries at the Togo end of our country. To also maybe change a bit of our forecasting and our data collection. So that is something that we're also trying to look at. But the trend, as I said, is following 2010 trend.
But how come 2010 did not result in the level of devastation we're seeing in 2023?
So as I said, 2010, before 2010, we had a bit of drought. The lake was very low. We're way around, somewhere around 250, 240, thereabout. The lake level was very low. So the amount of water that came, the lake was able to hold it. The dam was able to hold it behind it. But as I said, the levels last year was a bit high. So the water that was coming in, the dam could hold up to a point. It has to release the rest to flow out.
So would it be fair, and sorry if I'm pushing this, would it be fair to say VRA could have done something different? Because some people feel the VRA should be responsible for what is happening at the lower parts of Akosombo. Did the VRA, for example, warn the communities to move? Did you go to a place like Mepe to say, we are going to spill water and therefore move away or something? Just talk to me a bit about whether VRA could have done things a bit different.
Okay, Leonard, somewhere last year, November, we contacted all the agencies, that is NADMO, Fire Service, or district assemblies. We want to carry out a simulation in the second quarter of 2023. Because of the volumes of water we've seen in the lake. So we carried out that exercise in May 2023. All the communities were involved. All the communities were involved in carrying out this exercise. Mepe was even the stage point for the exercise. The EOC, that is the Emergency Operational Center, was set up in the pit. That was where we carried out that exercise. Knowing the nature of the land in the place, it's a low-lying area, so we did that. The district assemblies were involved, radio stations, the media were involved. It was communicated that, look, something of this sort will happen. When it happens, please be careful. So we even termed that exercise down also. That is what we did. And before, when we saw that the letters were going out somewhere in August, we started communicating also. So somewhere, first week of September, we should have letters to all the agencies which are concerned that, look, this is what is going to happen. The district assemblies, all those, that, look, we are going to spill. And when you saw the protocols that we set up in our emergency response preparedness plan has to be activated. We have 3 levels of this emergency preparedness plan. We have level 1, level 2, level 3, depending on the amount of water that will come. So today we have level 1. The volume that will come is less than 150,000. So please activate all the protocols in the district, inform the communities, let them move. We started filling that small volumes of water, hoping that the communities will start moving out themselves, because we are not going to see that the rains will stop, so we'll close the gate tomorrow or tomorrow night. So we thought that if that activity will be carried out. But as I always say, people normally say, let's wait and see what will happen. Some were caught in it, because the volume and the speed of the water coming, you can't say that you can quickly outrun it and save all your properties in it. And as you know, most people would like to evacuate everything in their room before leaving to the safe haven. And that one also affects the evacuation of the people. So in that show, we really educated them, and they knew what they were supposed to do according to do that.
So to be fair, I'm online and I'm seeing a story, May 17, 2023, VRA NADMO flood simulation exercise ends. And funny enough, you are quoted in the story on Daily Guide's website as having said in May that the exercise was a resounding success, and you said that you had learnt a lot from the exercise and identified areas where we can improve our preparedness to dam-related floods. So the simulation was done. So does it mean that this depends on the people. The people should have moved, or could you have gone there to move them, knowing that water was coming? What could we have done? Because you did a simulation in May. In August, I warned them again the water was coming. In September, you then opened the water. Did NADMO go there in September to say, guys, the water is coming, go? Or do you get my point? Because the simulation is May, but that's another good 3 months before September. So between the simulation and September, what really happened?
So before we opened the gate on 15 September, DRA staff and NADMO were on the ground with the district assembly. We went there to observe the extent of inundation that was occurring in the community. We were there throughout from 14 September up to date. Our people are still on the ground, communicating, engaging opinion with the district assemblies and all that. So I would say that we didn't do that. We did that. We really engaged them.
Okay, finally, based on what you've seen now, and thank you for your time. I know you are working this morning, so talking on radio is not the most important thing. So thank you for your patience. What we are trying to raise support in addition to whatever government will do for the people. Based on what you've seen, okay, before I even ask that question, is more water going to come? Are you going to spill more water in the coming days? That's the next question before I come to humanitarian. Are you going to spill more water in the coming days?
To ask all our simulations, we don't want to spill any additional volume of water. We are tracking, and with data, we believe that we may not spill any volume of water. But if there should be any unexpected storms, heavy drains into the dam, where we are now, we are around 277.2 feet water behind the dam. The dam operational level is 276. The maximum allowable operational level of the dam is 277.5. You are left with about only 0.24 to get to that maximum operational level of the dam. Any volume beyond this level, we are putting the dam integrity at risk. And as I said, the dam should break. That huge volume of water that will come out of the dam, all those along the banks of the river, all the way to somewhere, will be wiped into the sea. No human being to be saved, no structure will be saved, nothing will be saved.
No, hold on. Let's go through it again. You are saying that the maximum level of the dam is 277 point what?
0.5 for
feet.
the maximum allowable operational feet. Yes.
Maximum allowable operational. That means that anything above that can break the dam.
Yes, we are putting the integrity of the dam out.
And where are we today as we speak?
We are at 277.26 today.
0.26.
Yes, so we have about 0.24 to get to that maximum level.
And on Saturday, the level rose at 0.12. Before it rose at 0.05 today.
Yes.
So if the Saturday level continues for 2 days, we'll get that 0.24.
Yes. So we are hoping that the levels will not get to, the rise will not be more than 0.25. We are hoping it will be 0.25 and start being negative, that we can start closing the gate a bit. That is what we are hoping for. We don't want it to jump to maybe 0.8, 0.08 or anything.
But I know hope is good, but hope is not. Hope is not a strategy. So my question is, in the event that Saturday's level of rise continues for 3 straight days, the dam can break. So
yeah, we'll be hitting the maximum level of the dam, and the bridging of the dam is possible. It will happen.
So to prevent the breaking of the dam, you have to spill more water.
Yes, then we have to start allowing more water out of the dam.
Because if the dam breaks, based on the volume of water the dam is retaining,
yes.
What does that mean? Does that mean that the whole area south of Akosombo towards the sea will be underwater?
Will be underwater, will be washed off. The speed of the water will be washed there. The structures are going to be washed off.
Are you serious?
Then, as I said, The volume of water behind the dam is 150 billion liters cubed. The one we are spilling is about 6,600 liters cubed. So imagine the dam is big and the height of 277.5. As engineers will tell you, this height converts to potential to kinetic energy. The speed that is to come, nobody can stand in it. We should just take the example that what happened in Libya. That bridge is not something you should even.
So, engineer, should we not be asking people in those areas to actually leave the communities and move to central region or something? Because if you are talking about 0.24 feet close to maximum operational level, we cannot legislate for the rain. We don't know whether high tide can continue to even retain the water that's coming. Should we not be saying to people in at least 6 or 7 of those areas that, look, leave, go to the mountains or go somewhere else? Because, I mean, if you did a simulation in May and in September you started spilling very generous amounts, 20, 30, 50, and already a place like Mepe is underwater, obviously we need to have a worst case scenario plan in motion. I hope you are following my logic. We should not wait for it to happen and say we hope it will not reach, because based on everything you've told me, if we have 2 days of sustained rainfall, the dam will break.
I perfectly understand you. So that's what we are doing on the ground at the moment, trying to move the people on the low lying area to high ground. As I said, there are projections from since the dam was constructed for about 52 years. The West, this situation happened 1963. And per our tracking, we believe that we are not going to experience any severe rain beyond this time. That will affect what we are doing. I think for now, the thing we are sure that we are not going to get to the point of breaking the dam, which will cause the devastation that will see the dam to break. We are going to experience. We don't think we'll get there.
All right.
That's one.
Just finally, what have you been giving the people based on what we've been told? There's an urgent need for water, an urgent need for sleeping materials, and an urgent need for food and detergents. Just give me a sense of what VRA has been giving the people in those areas affected.
As I said from the beginning, the spillage was not possible. I think the situation came in where it died on the 10th of October. Immediately we came into the community, we gave the relief items that are needed. The people were being agitated. So as we came yesterday, they were happy to see that at least we've done work. The relief items are coming and they are okay, but they are requesting for more, which we are bringing more relief items to them. They are in the Kizito school, so they are mosquito nets for them to sleep in. They are food, as Daniel says, they started with the dry relief items, giving them food and water so that they may cook themselves. They started with the wet relieving, that is preparing food for them to eat. I think they changed the strategies. They brought in fuel, that charcoal, that stove for them to cook themselves, which I think it's going on well. More of the relief items are coming to make sure everybody is comfortable. I would say that the situation that they find themselves in, if the fish go about more 2-3 weeks more, we have to make sure we still give them those relief items to make sure they are comfortable to some of the stores that they find themselves in. As we asked earlier on, the challenge we face, we call on everybody in the country, any organization, to come and help. It's our people who are suffering. Life is very precious, and we make sure they are all comfortable. We save the lives that we need to save. If the fair is inundated with water, then there'll be a bit. There may be an outbreak of diseases. So at least we have our head directed here, see to that one.
All right.
The Ministry of Health is also having people here to look for them for also doing really good healthcare. But as I said, all organizations are practically coming to support us to make sure our people are relieved and we have a bit of call.
We will definitely make the clarion call and use our platform to also collect relief items and then coordinate with you to give to the communities, because I don't know if VRA has all the resources to feed all those people. So we are on this with you. I just want to point out before you go that I got a text message this morning from a gentleman in Setre Central constituency and Drobonso, who is claiming that the flooding situation is affecting every community along the Volta Basin. And he says that in Setre Afram Plains, they have water levels rising, and that the Afram and Volta River merges and the spillage is making life unbearable for them. Is this something you're keeping an eye on? And could this be true? He sent me a video of communities with high level water. Is this possible based on what we are discussing today?
Yeah, Bernard, as I said, as we are holding the water, the levels are going up. Then you should know that the water behind the dam is also going to spread out. So we know the Savannah region, they are experiencing some flooding in those areas. The Savannah region, they are. Bouquet is a bit flooded. Ketekati is also experiencing some flood over there. NADBO is going to go there to ascertain the extent of flood and see how best they can help relieving those people. So we are working with NADBO in all this. NADBO is the one leading, but they have the expertise in disaster management. So we are working with them to make sure they do that. So what they are saying is that it's not because of the flood, it's because we are holding back the water, and the water is not being allowed to go. So the water is also spreading behind the dam to this community.
Engineer Edward Obinkenzo, Deputy CEO, Engineering and Operations, thank you so much for your time and keep up with the work. We know you are on the field. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you, Bernard.
That was Engineer Edward Obinkenzo, Deputy CEO of VRA. He's in charge of Engineering and Operations. He just landed from a chopper. He's been, I think we spoke around 5 a.m. He's been on the ground. I can imagine he hasn't slept. It's a crazy... And Sky, some of the things I've heard this morning, I'm really, really worried. I don't know if listeners were following. 183,000 cubic feet per second, which is about 5,400 cubic feet per second. Per second, though.
Mm-hmm.
So the number
every second, that's how much water we're
coming. Now, the troubling thing is that the dam maximum operating level is 277.5 feet. The dam is at 277.26. So that means that you need 0.24 feet rise for the dam
to reach its most
maximum, and anything above that breaks the dam. Now, what is worse is that Saturday, the dam rose by 0.12 feet. That's half of the 0.24. Mm-hmm. Luckily for us, on Sunday, the rise was 0.1. Mm-hmm. And then today, the rise was 0.05. Mm-hmm. But it's still rising. Mm-hmm. You get it? So, but it's rising at a lower rate. Mm-hmm. So when I put to him that if the water level rises the same level it rose on Saturday for 3 straight days, the dam can break. Mm-hmm. Now he tells me the volume of water that the dam is holding is about 150 billion cubic feet. Mm-hmm. And if the dam breaks, all the communities from Esojaman down to Keta will be inundated.
Dama included, Accra.
And it will be sudden. And this is very sobering. So the couple of things I wanted to say, that the point about we are hoping it doesn't get there, I think that point should not be part. I think there should be, because Sky, if water breaks at Akosombo, the speed of movement of water, it won't take a day before it reaches Keta.
Yeah, it's swift.
So I think there should be shelters at least central region. Do you understand? Because even Accra, I don't know which part of Accra is safe. Mm-hmm. Where you are already preparing to move people.
Worst case scenario.
I'm telling you, because I don't even think you should wait. You get me? There should be a camp at least beyond Kaswa, where you are setting up tents and basically getting buses ready to move people from all those areas. Another one should be moving to the eastern region, away from Akosombo. So basically, you are talking beyond Odumase towards Omanis area. All right, because I'm not even sure Accra Plains is safe.
Certainly.
Because if you look at Asuchuari is very close to Afienya, Tema.
Asuchuari is already inundated.
Yeah,
in part.
And the trouble is, even even if you spill, it's still not a guarantee, because as I'm talking to you now, that there are, they've spilled. I wanted to get the filler for you. This is terrible. Good. And Fred, call Fred to hold for me, please. The 12 of the 15 valves in Kwam have been opened.
Yes.
All right. And then 8 of the 12 on Akosombo opened on Saturday. All right. So they are trying to manage the level of flow to the southern part so it doesn't become too much. And also balancing that with not making sure the dam breaks. So you have to decide, do you just allow the water to come so the water level goes low so people down south suffer? Or you don't spill as much as you should, while the people have a chance to escape and possibly then break the dam and everybody else dies? I hope I'm not sounding alarmist, but from the way the guy spoke, I think it's very serious. You know, Fred, go Sky. I don't know.
But you see, we need, as you were saying, to prepare for worst case scenario and hope that we do not get to engage those systems and the infrastructure would have put in place. I recognize that the government has put together some interministerial committee. They have not yet issued a statement to tell us where they are. I think Fred is on the line.
Okay.
Please, yeah.
Fred, thank you for your work. Fred, when was the first time you went there for the story? Was it Wednesday or Thursday? When did you start following the story?
We're here on Thursday. We're present, but the incident started happening some 3 days before.
Wow.
I mean, the signals were quite clear, and the people started sending us pictures and messages before we went there. Or we came.
So you got there on Thursday.
Exactly.
And where did you go on Thursday?
Thursday, we did at least 3 districts. We started from Mefe, which is in the North Tong district. And after assessing the situation and doing the framing, we had wanted to connect from Mefe into the Central Tong district so that we could just move along the banks of the river. But that wasn't the case. That couldn't happen because the river has actually cut the major road that connects Central Tong and North Tong. So we needed to make a U-turn and use another alternative route. And that was when we got to South Tong. And you see, these 3 tongs were first 1 tong, and before it was partitioned into 3, Central, North, and South. So in effect, if you are moving from one of the tong districts, you would virtually enter into one before you move to the next. They are intertwined in that manner. So from North Tong, we entered into Central Tong, and then entered into South Tong, then into Central Tong again. And that is how we're able to capture the whole thing on Thursday. So when you talk of South Tong, we are talking about Sogakopa and East Environs, where we have the Komboni Hospital and the Komboni Vocational School. Those were the critical installments or institutions that were affected. Where we have the Sogakopa substation, being that of the critical substation, totally submerged in water. And that brought about the power cuts to the affected areas. And the ECD followed on another plan to rely on the Aflau power station, and that's of the another one in the eastern region for water power to be transferred to these people who were affected by this flood situation. So we've been to North, South, and Central Tong district.
Before you on Thursday, okay, yeah, go ahead.
On Saturday, we went to the eastern region, to be precise, Akosombo, where we had made attempts to gain access to the dam to see what was happening there. But we weren't successful, but we managed by drone footages to get what the whole situation was. We went to a community which is a fish farming community known as Kokontikpeji, and that place, the devastation has mainly been caused to their fishing nets, their fishing equipment, and the fish farm they had on the Volta River. So those were the critical things, and some structures were equally destroyed in the process.
So the 3 town districts have been seriously affected. Parts of Esojamana affected. Did you do southern south, like Keta and Ketu South, or you will go there later?
So that is the plan, to do them later. Not only them, but even at that east, where we have the estuary, they are also equally affected. So the main effect for this Keta and Anglo has been the debris collecting at the beaches. Very huge debris collected from the river and dumped at those edges. And that means that fishing expedition has come to a halt, because if you attempt throwing your net into the sea, you would end up breaking it with huge volumes of debris that is coming from this side of the spillage to the seaside.
All right, Fred. So before you talk to the NADMO coordinator, let me just understand you. You're saying that the most affected community based on your work is Mepe.
Exactly the case.
And Mepe is a whole. So are you saying the whole town is underwater?
Now we can say that a chunk of it is underwater. I mean, a larger portion of the community is underwater. Basically because we thought the thing was going to affect only those at the banks of the river. Apparently, there is a stream opposite or on the other side of the community. The water managed to cut in the major road and find its way into the stream, thereby causing that particular stream to also overflow its bank into the community. So as we speak, largely, both sides of the community is totally underwater. Just that those on the main road, the road is elevated a bit. So those by the side of the main road, they are a bit safe. Aside that, those on both sides are generally affected. Even the cemetery. This is where the health issues come in, because even the cemetery is underwater, and water flooding that particular place and entering into the Volta River again is unwholesome for consumption. So it is just not safe for them to even drink the Volta River they used to rely on. As we speak, ECD has restored power. From the onset, the situation demanded that they cut power to all these affected areas. But now they've managed to find a way to connect these people to power. That is how come water, I understand, the water station is currently also closed down because it's also flooded, but they are managing to rely on sachet water. And when we're coming this morning to Mepe, we saw NADMO water tankers, about 2 of them, heading towards Sege. And my belief is that they are going to get water into the Mepe community for those that have been displaced by this disaster.
Do you have an idea of how many people have been affected, or do you want to talk to the NADMO official to get those numbers for me?
The NADMO officials, we understand they've gone to the other side of the river. But what I can put on record, my assessment is that the least affected will be about 5,000 people. That is least. It could be more. So, in effect, NADMO is on the ground. We've seen military men on the ground. We've seen the police. They are all basically here giving assistance to people to cross to the other side of the community. And those who are trying to salvage their items that are in their rooms, when they raise alarm or even inform the coordinators on the ground, the military, the police, and things, they are able to go with them to go and manage to collect their things that are in their room. So generally, I would say this morning, the situation, the people are still hoping that there will be more relief coming to their aid. I mean, there are some town folks here I believe we can have a conversation with.
Yes, talk to them for me. Talk to them for me. Talk to them for me so we know what's happening. Talk to them.
Breakfast show. basically what is happening in the community. How are you affected by this whole disaster?
Manye nyavyo shekeva manye nyavi kurao etwa mabubu amo hoganga.
Talk to us. We are listening.
Ifo ako amo enlawo kataoshi toma bosusuyo ujuja sobo amo ola duoma ta amio ehie manye nyavi so Pentecostal o mission house in the theater ashitoma amabubu etara wa yitu kapa atonu edao etafifla ehie zo mile kwa tolele election ala bi akoji immediately nyokata dukuto mama na chaka appreciate na she plana la ta dollar na ta manye nyafi.
Bernard, what he's largely saying is that the situation has been overwhelming and that most of their properties have been submerged, and to the effect that their toilet facilities were all affected and cemeteries were also affected. It has caused a whole lot of situations where they can't even consume the water. So generally, they are also hoping that some help will come their way. Now, tell us, which or what kind of help came your way ever since this whole disaster occurred?
Oko ndudu venemi, kumana na maya. Oko molu piota ole mala dwokatama. Nvuvu komo leve.
Okay. So he's mentioned that a number of relief items have come through so far. Food, he mentioned water. From time to time, they bring a number of things that they are able to say to the people. They brought in clothing and other basic facilities that can help the people cope with the situation in the meantime. So we are now moving and
Fred,
trying to assess the situation to see how it is this morning. What I can report is that the water hasn't really receded from the look of things.
What I wanted to ask you was, what else do they need? Would they need more of those items? And then beyond the food and water, what else do they need?
Beyond the food and water, what do you need from your assessment?
Business, and you're talking about business. Any does of your chito oju magada like halako. Tami here and Ndurukum Nishi and Mako here. Glamoro Hoyom, Wamo Dukra, Oju, Ambosu, so Wamo.
All right, Bernard, he's mentioning that the main things that are needed currently, one, food, because they can't cook, because their buildings are submerged, they really can't survive without food, and they need water as well. Clothing, if it comes, they will be glad. Most of the people that were affected, they've actually moved out of town, hoping to go stay with some of their relatives. But they believe that anything that anyone can come with in terms of help, they will be very grateful to them. In the meantime, until this whole thing recedes, they have no choice than to cope with the situation.
All right, Fred, thank you. Where else are you going this morning? What's your plan? And there's something he said that I thought you should. Like I said, those who have left the town are more than those who are remaining in the town. Did he actually say that?
Yes, he said that categorically. He mentioned that a number of people that were affected, looking at the situation, and they have no relatives to stay with, they managed to leave the town. They packed their belongings and the things they could salvage. They managed to leave the town. Now, what I can picture I can paint for you this morning is that we are currently in the canoe on the water, and you see buildings, even story buildings, totally submerged. The very down floor is gone, almost reaching the second or first floor. Now, I can also mention that the water bridge or the Sugakofe bridge is one of the critical installments that we have in this country, connecting Ghana to probably the Volta region and to neighboring countries like Togo, Benin, and Nigeria. What I can say is that the Volta River or the Volta Bridge, the canoe cannot even go under it. Don't forget, some time back, we managed to use the boat to go under that particular bridge. But today, as we speak, it's just an arm's length for the water to catch up with the base of the Volta Bridge. And those who have used that road a number of times would appreciate the fact that usually on a normal level, there is a huge gap between the water and the bridge. But as we speak, even if you stretch your leg or your arm, you should be able to touch the base of the bridge, and that is the space that is left for the water to catch up with the bridge. So I understand the Ministry of Road is also mobilizing engineers to go and assess the situation over there to ascertain if there is a need for them to do anything or bring any intervention with regards to transport on that stretch.
Fred.
So we are believing that from here today, we are waiting for the president.
Mm-hmm.
We understand the president to be coming in a chopper probably later in the afternoon, where he will assess the situation and it will give him a vivid picture as to what to do, because when he is flying, he will be able to assess the situation better from the area perspective of things. So waiting here until the president comes, and whatever statement he will make, we'll bring that to our listeners.
Fred, when I interviewed the VRA deputy CEO, he said that if the dam breaks, all communities from Atimpoko to Ketu South will be wiped away. And without sounding alarmist, are you able to let people you are interacting with know this, so that if possible they can even leave the whole community entirely? Because number two, more water could be coming, so that even those who are on supposedly high ground, like in the classrooms and in the churches, they could also be affected by more water. So is there conversation on people leaving the place completely for the next few days until the situation calms down?
The bigger question would be, where would they live to? And that has been their concern. So those who are still in the town, they are basically here because they have nowhere else to go except to take shelter in the classrooms that have been provided so far. And until the water probably advances further, they may struggle to find where to go to. In the meantime, when we went to the Akosombo area, the Volta River Authority, they mentioned to us that, yes, indeed, they are going to spill more. Like you mentioned, you spoke to them, and they even, asserted the fact that they would still spill more. I can also say that without being alarmist, I would say that from what I see, if there is more spillage, these story buildings will go underwater, and it's quite a dire situation on the ground.
Keep up with the good work, Fred. We'll talk to you again. This is the Citi Breakfast Show, special edition 853. Getting a clear sense of the situation with the spillage. A few things. In May this year, the VRA did a simulation with NADMO in the communities affected. They started a spillage in September 15 this year with 20,000 cubic feet, 30,000, 50,000. It rose to 90,000. Now it's 183,000 cubic feet, which is about 5.4 meter. Just give me a minute. The mass is confusing me. But basically, and this per second, by the way. I wanted to just so the 183,000 cubic feet per second translates to 5,400 cubic feet per second. Right. Second point is about whether they would continue the spillage, and we have been told that they have opened 8 out of the 12 or so for Bong, and I think 10 or 2 out of the 15 for Akosombo. So basically, they are spilling a lot of water. Most important point is that the dam, the highest level of water for the dam to operate is 277.5 feet. And we are only 0.24 feet. So basically between my knee and my thighs, level of water. Because we are 277.26 and the highest level is 277.50. So if they get 0.24 more, they've reached the maximum. And when they go above that, the dam can break. Now the Saturday, they had 0.12 increase. So that's about half of the level they were hoping not to get. Luckily, yesterday it was 0.1 and today 0.05. So the question is, if we get Saturday level rise for 2 straight days, the dam can go. And I don't want to sound like an alarmist, but based on everything we've seen, if the dam goes, and maybe I need to speak to somebody else, Sky, on the dam going, because the VRA guy he didn't want to alarm
moderated today.
Yes. But if you look at what happened in Libya, if a dam breaks, he's talking about 150 billion cubic feet of water.
You're being held behind the dam.
Yes. So if a dam breaks, you're
unleashing the Kraken.
Yeah, and it's going to destroy everything in its sight. And I wanted to do a quick overview of some communities along the Volta Lake and then Sky. But I wanted the Sky to also mention the relief items we need. Citi FM and Citi TV is mobilizing relief. Listening to people, if we can get food and water and a few things, we will mobilize and go and give people.
Yep.
So if you can go through the list of what we need.
So we urgently need water that people should drink. So sachet water, bottled water, the big jar water. If you have it available, please bring it to us, and let's put those together and send them to the people. We're talking about food. You heard from the gentleman who spoke to Fred that they don't have enough food available because they've had to run away from their homes and their farmlands are all gone. So the people urgently need food, and preferably we're talking about canned food that would not go bad quickly. Of course, we also got to know that, some of them don't even, or many of them don't even have places to cook their food. So if you have stoves that you can spare, or you have brand new ones that you can actually make available, we can send some of these things to them. Then we are also talking about mattresses where they can lay their heads. They have left their homes and they are putting up in places which really do not have these facilities or things immediately available. So if you have mattresses that you can make available, please make those available. I'm talking about the ash foams of this world. I'm talking about latex foams of this world. You have a stake in this. So please, you're listening to us, come and support. Then we're talking about blankets. The weather is not friendly along the Volta Lake, especially because of the cold nature of or the humid nature of the what do you call it, the climate there. So blankets are necessary to keep people warm. And mind you, some of them are sleeping in the open. So please come with blankets. Then we need toiletries and detergents. People are using very, very unfriendly what do you call it, places of convenience. You heard from the story that water inundated pits they use for latrine. And the water that is coming out is particularly devastating, and people don't have places to go and do their number 2. So please, if you can help to salvage the situation with toiletries and detergents, please come and support us. Then that along the Volta Lake, all kinds of insects would trouble the people. In some cases, we're talking about cheche fly. In some cases, we're talking about mosquitoes and other insects. And the late J.J. Rawlings did some work along that stretch, trying to deal or contain some of these insects. So please, if you have mosquito nets that the people can use at night to keep the mosquitoes away, or you have repellents, there are some creams that we use these days to repel mosquitoes, or you have insecticides that can actually support the effort to keep mosquitoes away. Please bring those.
So you want them to bring them Citi FM?
Yes, Citi FM.
Here in Adabraka. So we are coordinating, and we've done this before, so we have a bit of experience. I remember a few years ago when the landslides and mudslides happened in Sierra Leone, we managed to send at least it was an aeroplane full of relief items through the help of Magdan shipping to Sierra Leone. In fact, we sent the first batch to the Sierra Leonean embassy here in Accra. I led that team. And then the Magdan sent a whole plane of relief items to Freetown on behalf of Citi listeners. So we've done this before. We're asking for listeners to send whatever. And I think this is very important. Water in particular and food. Water and food, I think, are the most critical. Sachet water, bottled water, and then canned food. And then if you have bags of rice or stuff like this, it's very, very important. We are mobilizing. The VRA man said to me that they are happy with what we are doing, that essentially that would support, that would help. Fred is telling me as well that even though relief items are being sent, they need more. The gentleman we spoke to said more of people in the town have left than those who have remained. Right. Livelihoods have been destroyed.
Businesses.
Godfred, if you can read a few messages for me.
Yeah, let me do that.
Yeah, go ahead. All right.
Yes, Salasi sends in one and says we can rally around the Momo number as well, so some people can contribute. We'll try and get to that.
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Brother and Sky, seriously, I cannot think straight. I just finished watching a 5-minute video on the flooding. It's insane. Where's the military? 48th Engineer Regiment. Where's the Ghana Navy?
We are told
they are there. They are there.
But they are also inundated because of the large scale nature of the problem.
They are there.
This was also asking, where is our president? The president is going there today.
Maybe they could even get volunteers to join.
Oh, exactly.
Because the military, I'm told, are there. But if you look at the size of the place, they may not be able to even cover the whole place.
Yes. Go ahead. Good morning, brother and team. With the medicines, I propose we also get the pharmaceutical companies to help. Like water purifiers and that sort of thing. Bernard, you are living out Lower Manya district, which includes Pong, Akusi, and Amedeka, which are hosting the Pond Dam. I think he's mentioned that several times. This one, okay. I think the issue in the Volta region, parts of the eastern region and Greater Accra, is a national security issue, and I believe all individuals along the coast of Ghana are at risk. This one says, I went to the beach in Ungwa last Saturday and the sea level had risen like never before. I really hope and pray the sea doesn't overflow as well. Okay. Bernard, this correction he's made. Hi guys, it's devastating to hear what challenges the people affected by the floods and VRA water spillage are going through. And as much as we are seeking aid, let's also focus on the opportunity this presents us to clear our waterways and prevent people from resettling in flood-prone areas. Protecting these flood paths allow for development of structures to adequately channel the water for judicious use. Right. Richard Selassie Anum from Adenta.
Okay.
This one's also talking about insurance. But I must say, Papa and other communities affected are in danger. During the spill, reptiles and humans are struggling for safe haven. I mean, livestock, I guess. Yeah. You can imagine.
No, he mentioned reptiles as well, because once you have water, all the snakes come out. So you can even have crocodiles coming out of water. You'll be shocked.
You can imagine.
So it's serious.
Contaminated the water cemeteries in Mepe communities were flooded. This one's also asking why the VRA engineers did not anticipate the volume of water around this time and start the spillage at the beginning of the year in smaller quantities rather than wait and put the entire dam at risk. Well, I'm sure the engineer explained the process for this. So same question. A lot of people have that question, why they waited so long to spill.
To be fair, if you listen to the man, and you look at what they did in May, I think for me, what could have happened was that when the spillage started in September 15, they should have sent people to actually ask people to move. Do you understand? Because they did a simulation and they did an operation. They called it, I forget the name they mentioned, but they had some name for it. So when they actually started the spilling, there should have been a team with like announcements saying move to higher ground, and they should have prepared higher ground. Do you understand? Because they should have said, okay, when this volume of water starts coming, Mepe, for example, all maybe 200 meters left and right to the water will go. So you should move. And then they should show them where they should go. Do you understand my point? But it seems as if the people were not given that direct instruction. So they did the operation. In fact, I wanted to read the full story. Then you can analyze for me if I'm right. They did the simulation in where is the story? They did a simulation in
May.
Good. Let me read the story for you. A large-scale simulation exercise by Volta River Authority and the National Disaster Management Authority in preparation for the unlikely, and they say unlikely, event of spillage from the Akosombo Dam and the Gbon hydropower dam ended on a high note. Dubbed Daunhusu 2023, to wit, be vigilant. The exercise formed part of the authority's Emergency Preparedness Plan, EPP, in assessing and improving the VRA and other stakeholders' emergency response plans, procedures, and capabilities. It also aimed at testing the readiness of stakeholders to deal with emergencies that cause the release of large quantities of water from the Akosombo and Pond dams. The exercise was held in 3 potentially affected districts, namely Eswojaman in the eastern region, Adan East in the Greater Accra region, and North Tong in the Volta region. So 3. They didn't do South Tongue, they didn't do Central Tongue, they didn't do Ketu South, Ketu North. But what we are seeing is beyond the 3 they chose, right? Participating in the exercise were officers from the Ghana Fire Service, Ghana Police Service, the Navy, the Ghana National Ambulance Service, Ghana Armed Forces, among others. Also part of the exercise were representatives from the North Dakota National Guard as observers who were full of kind words and admiration for the organizers. Speaking at the closing ceremony in Akosombo, Edward Obin Kenzo, the man I spoke to earlier, Deputy CEO, Engineering and Operations at VRA, described the exercise as resounding success while intimating that he and his team had learned a lot from the exercise and identified areas where we could improve our preparedness to dam-related floods. The exercise, he added, also enabled them to identify gaps in the procedures and methods involved in handling flood-related incidents as well as ways of addressing them. He emphasized the authorities' commitment to a safe and resilient environment for their neighboring communities, assuring that they would continue to work together in ensuring that flood-related incidents are reduced to the barest minimum. Said Kwame Echampong, Eastern Regional Minister, on his part said it was commendable that the VRA, in collaboration with NADMO and other security agencies, had taken such a bold step to test their emergency preparedness plan through the simulation exercise. He underscored that government attaches great importance to issues of climate change, as is evidenced by the various international conventions to science, blah, 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 blah. Continuous sensitization workshops on environmental emergency preparedness plan, he stressed, are very necessary and urged the collaboration between VRA and NADMO was worth commending and must be emulated by all stakeholders, etc., etc. Said Gisaji Amedonu, Deputy Director General of NADMO, in a speech read on behalf of the NADMO Director, Nana Jiman Prempe, said, quote, "It is good to have emergency preparedness plan, but it's not enough when the preparation plan is not tested." He therefore commended the VRA for their thoughtfulness, describing the exercise as largely successful, while congratulating planning committees and all participating. So we are busy congratulating ourselves, busy telling ourselves we've done a good job with the simulation. The proof of your preparedness is what happened this week. So I think all stakeholders who were quoted in the story saying they've done well, you can't commend yourself for a simulation exercise because it is is that if you fail in the day of adversity, your cement is small. So your planning can be good. The horse is prepared for battle. So whilst I'm not downplaying the importance of what they did, I think the real issue is the emergency preparedness simulation notwithstanding, the situation is worse than they anticipated. That's number one. The response has not been quick enough. That's number two. And number three, the worst case scenario has not been confronted. The worst case scenario, which is very likely based on my interview with the CEO deputy, I don't think there's a plan to deal with the worst case scenario.
We don't have that plan, it will seem, or even if they have it, they have not disclosed it to us. Because as you were saying, the areas that will be most threatened are those areas south of the Volta, with the Akosombo Dam. And we have mentioned some of those areas, including all the communities along the eastern coast of Ghana. And you do know that already those areas have been battling with what they were tidal wave attacks.
Oh God!
And
Fred, who is back on the line? He is with the Deputy NADMO Director, Seji Saji Amedonu, and also Deputy Minister for Health. So, Fred, over to you again. What can you report?
Yeah, Bernard. All I can report is that there is a delegation from government that just arrived. I saw the Deputy Minister for Information. I saw the Minister for Local Government. And we have the NADMO Deputy Director also present here, Mr. Seji Saji, to give us some details as to what he's been doing on the ground so far and as to what he thinks the people need for them to be able to cope with the situation. Currently, I see a number of them trying to make their way, do a setup basically to welcome the president to come and address the people. Yes, welcome to Citi Breakfast show, sir. So far, you have been on the ground ever since this whole issues started. What can you tell us as far as your assessment of situation?
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to all your listeners. As you're already aware, the challenge is quite serious, and the spillage is not over yet. It's still continuing. That's what makes it even difficult. So it is like an unfolding disaster. So we keep recording casualties. No, we keep recording victims, rather. They have most of them have been placed in safe havens across all the affected districts. As we speak, The districts that have been badly hit are about 8 of them. North Town being the worst hit, Central Town follows, and then South Town. We are holding close to about 8,000 in different safe havens. So we are holding close to 8,000 in different safe havens, and we have a total about 24,000 affected. Thank you.
Well, I want us to speak to the local government minister. The NADMO man has actually received a call, so he's left us. So briefly, we'll speak to the minister and for him to share with us what he's seen so far. Welcome to Citi Breakfast Show, sir.
Thank you.
So far, is it the first time you've come here?
I have been to Mwepe before, but this is the first time I've been here since the disaster started. But we have been in touch with all the district chief executives in the affected areas. Before submitted the reports, we've also been briefed by VRA, and as part of the interministerial committee, a lot of arrangements have been made. The president himself will be here later in the day, and then we'll go back to Accra and then assess what else we can do. Already a lot of relief items have been sent here, and more have come in this morning. We have to commend the military and the security services, of course, VRA and NADMO for what they've done so far. Lots of disaster has been averted. We've been to where a road has been submerged and fell into a river that you have to use a boat to even come across.
When you were coming, you saw those buildings totally submerged and a number of properties that people can't really salvage. How do you feel about all this?
Well, it's sad for various reasons. As far as VR is concerned, they started doing simulation last year. And then this year, when they had no option but to start spilling, they started with a very low gradual level, 20,000 per cubic second, to be able to gradually offload a dam, because damaging the dam would have been most disastrous for us. We would not even be able to control what will come out. So they started with 20 and advising people to leave the low ground, kept advising, and those some complied, some too are still monitoring the situation. So as we speak, now they are now spending 180,000 from the 20,000. They are now spending 180,000 per second. So the effect is even more devastating. Except that, thank God, we haven't lost lives, and we are hoping to mitigate the situation. The military, not only are here every day for the support that they can, and it's mitigating the situation. Except that we don't know how long we can even contain this. As we speak, the population around here is about 80,000 displaced people here alone, and we have to cater for them. They have to make sure they have all the health facilities so that we don't have any outbreak. So it's a major situation, and the government is handling it. But we don't want anybody to underestimate it and not to cooperate or to assume that this is just a small matter.
What are the specific mandates of this committee that the president has set up?
Well, it's a government committee. The major thing is for the government ministries, departments, and agencies to coordinate and to ensure that things are facilitated, things move very well so that we bring relief and safety to the people. So you will find all the key ministries involved: defense, interior, energy, local government, all the key ministries who also coordinate their departments and agencies have been put together to ensure that if there's any safety issue, if there are reliefs, we should make sure we are prompt and we are on course.
We are told the president to make some significant intervention today. Can you just give us, to some extent, what we need to expect from him?
Well, I cannot preempt what the president will do today. We are here as advance team, and we'll be preparing for him when he comes. If he has any message, you tell the nation the message.
Thank you very much. But many are wondering whom we are speaking to. Can we introduce him?
My name is Obi Amwa, Minister of State at the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization, Rural Development. Thank you very much. So,
Fred, yes, I had Obiamwa. Fred, I had Obiamwa and Seji. I wanted to talk to Seji, if you can give him the phone.
Okay, so just
or has he left?
And Seji is still here.
Yes.
Bernard.
Yes, tell him that Bernard wants to speak to him on air.
Bernard wants to speak to you. Bernard.
Yes, Seji, good morning. I noticed you've not slept for a few days. Thank you for joining us. I just wanted to check something with you. When you did the simulation in May, did you prepare places for the people to escape to in case the water comes? Because I spoke to Engineer Kenzo this morning, who affirmed that in May you jointly did a simulation exercise with the people, the so-called Daumusu thing. I just wanted to understand.
The so-called Daumusu, it is exercise Daumusu.
Yes. So my question is,
there are designated safe havens across all the districts and all the communities downstream the Volta Dam.
No problem.
In where we are holding people now are not places we just determine when the incident happened. They are places that are predetermined. If your cameras capture, you see signposts that this is an evacuation aim for VI. You see our logo and you see that. We have this across. So, but can I have a full discussion with you later?
No problem. I know you're on the ground, so no problem. Thank you. I wanted to get some points from you, but I noticed you're busy. The question I really wanted to ask, he didn't allow me to put the question through, obviously. But
he's quite busy.
No, I understand this. Fred, so far though, have we heard of any death? So far in your reports, you haven't said anybody has died, which I believe is the case. Or have I missed any?
Well, none that we have heard of. As of now, no casualty in terms of death has been recorded. And the only situation we had was that some mortuaries were equally affected. But we went to the Bato District Hospital and we went to the mortuary and we understand that place is well protected and the water hasn't gotten there yet. So as of now, generally, no casualty in terms of death have been recorded yet.
Thank you, Fred. We'll come back to you. We're still on the Citi Breakfast Show this morning. Two things we're doing, updating you on the seriousness of the flooding as a result of the spillage of the opening of the spillways of the Volta, the Akosombo Dam and the Pond Dam. And then the humanitarian situation that can soon become a health crisis. Citi is asking you to send in order of priority water, sachet or bottled, food, preferably canned, tin food, packed food, or basically non-perishable. So we're talking about rice and things like this, bags of rice, sugar and things that we can send. Then number 3 will be mattresses and bed sheets and blankets, mattresses and blankets, things to sleep. Number 4 could be things like tents and mosquito nets, and then in detergents and toiletries, things to bath with. Fred, the world estimates that at least 5,000 people have been affected. Finder even puts the figure at 6,000. I have 4 maps in front of me, but to be fair, I need about 6 maps. The first map I have is the Sojaman map, and the Sojaman map shows me about 7 or 8 communities very close to the water. All right. So the Sojaman map, let me just expand this thing briefly. Give me a minute. So the map itself will tell you that the dam, of course, the dam is at Akosombo. For those who don't know the area very well, the Volta Lake, when it was dammed at Akosombo, Godfrey, you know this area better than I do. Communities which, if the dam does not allow water to flow, could be affected on the north side. Boso, Anum, Jakiti, Enum, Jakiti, New Ajena, Mpakadan. Mpakadan itself, Asikuma is not too far off, right? Frankadua, Apegusu, you know. Apeksu. No, you know,
my mother went to a Num girls' school.
You know, my mother is from Peki, so I know when you drive to, and funny enough, this weekend we went to that area. When you get to Asikuma, then you move up to, there's a place called, is it Labo Labo? Yeah, yes, the place called Labo Labo. Jakiti, New Ajina. Yes. Now, from Akosombo, when you start coming down, Akonufie is very close to the water. Then Manguase is close to the water. Then you have a place called Pupuni, a place called New Pomu. Then there's Atimpuku where Adome Bridge is. Then when you come down, you have New Senchi, New Akrede, Old Senchi, South Senchi. Now, then there's Lower Manya next to Esojaman. So Lower Manya, there has many communities next to it. Then North Town is the next place you go. Now, when you come to North Town district, you are looking at, give me just 1 minute. Closest to the water are Dofo Abotia, New Fojoku, Togome, Alabonu, Dofo Adidome, Volo. A place called Sokoga or Sokoga. Then Aveime, Bato Dudame. And then you have Vome. And then we have a place called Manya Votua Kope or Votua Mekope. Then Mepe is just next to the water. And now, I think the reason Mepe is underwater is that the river makes a turn. All right? So the communities next to the water, New Fojoku, Togome, Alobonu, Dofo Adidome, Volo, and all these places are all next to the water. But Mepe is very critical because it's like the water makes like a turn. So Mepe is inundated as we speak. So that's for North Town. Mepe is in North Town. Then if you go to Central Town, Adidome is not too far from the water, and then Dove as well. But a lot of Central Town is a bit further from the water, right? So then you come to South Town. Now South Town has a lot, because the water goes through South Town. So you have Teple, Sokwe, Sogakope itself. And then you come down to Adan East with lots of communities on Adan East side. A place called Agbajakope. And then you have Keji. Keji is actually on this map in on South Town, even though you could think Keji was in Keta. So Keta is just next to South Town. All right. And then you come all the way down. So, guys, this is a serious situation. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we will see if we can wrap this up. This is the Citi Breakfast Show. A very, very serious humanitarian situation in the southern part of the Volta region, southern part of the eastern region, the Dangbe East, Dangbe West, or they call it Shai Osudoku areas. And all those areas heavily affected by floodwaters. The dam itself, if the water doesn't recede, could break. And that is the worst case scenario that we are praying does not happen. But beyond prayer, we are asking if there is a plan for people to leave those areas, because the dam level is 277.26, which is just 0.24 feet above the maximum operating level of 277.5. 183,000 cubic feet of water being released per second. That is a lot of water. And we have also heard from people in Setre Afram Plains that because the dam level has risen, the place where the Afram River enters the Volta is also having a lot of water. So we've got reports from some of our listeners there that they are also in trouble. So this is not a situation for just the 7 or 8 or 9 communities below Akosombo. This is for the whole Volta Basin. And if something is not done drastically, things could get worse. I need to say we run this show commercial free based on a lot of things. We are trying to coordinate some media relief effort to support victims of flooding and the opening of the spillways of 2 major dams here in Ghana. And we are raising support for victims. Now, I'm told Mefe has been inundated. Indeed, one person Fred, who spoke to, said half of the people in the town have left. More than half of the people have left the town. And there's a humanitarian crisis. Food is urgently required. Water is urgently needed. Things like mattresses and blankets also will be helpful. We've spoken to everybody so far. VRA Deputy CEO has spoken to me and paints a very dire picture, in my view, of the situation with the dam. That if the water coming from the north does not reduce, the dam could be compromised. If the dam is compromised, all districts below Akosombo would be inundated with water. Let me remind you, I've said this, I need to say it again. It says the maximum operating level of the dam is 277.5 feet. We are 277.26, so we are just 0.24 feet neck left. Saturday, the water rose by 0.12 feet, which is half of just what is needed to reach the maximum. Yesterday, it was 0.11 feet, and today, 0.05. It says the rate at which it's increasing is lower, so we are praying it continues to go down. We don't have an answer as to what will happen when the dam breaks. That's point number one. Point number two, VRA and NADMO did do a simulation in May, and the simulation is what has, you can say, led to the fact that no lives have been lost yet, because from the report so far, people have moved from their houses to higher ground, but no casualty yet, which we need to be grateful for. Number three, President and co are moving there later today to assess the situation, but based on my conversation with the VRA, it's a very serious situation. Now, Sky, do you have a Momo number you can announce as well?
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to support with your finances, please, if you cannot bring the whatever you are bringing to Citi FM, you want to remotely support using cash, this is the mobile number or the Momo number that you can use. The number is 055 09 00 00 and 6 055 09 00 00 and 6.
And I think your reference should be flood support.
Yeah,
or flood. I think it's flood.
Yeah, that's right.
Flooding support.
Yeah,
Something to do with flooding.
Yeah,
so we know.
Of course. I mean, we are using hashtag relief for lower Volta online. So I've been pushing this
long. Relief.
Relief for, so relief as in RELIEF 4 as in the number 4. Lower Volta. That's what we use.
And this is the lower Volta basin.
Basin, yeah.
Coffee, please come. I need to announce the number properly. It says you didn't. It says 0550 900 006.
Yeah.
So 0550. Yes. So it's so let's go to it. 0550 900 006.
Yes.
So guys, let me just make this easy for you.
Okay.
The zeros between the 9 and the 6 are 4.
4 zeros. Yes.
So relief for lower Volta.
Yeah.
And this is lower Volta basin, by the way, not the region, the whole basin. So this is turning from Asojaman to Sai Osudoku to North Town, Central Town, South Town, all the way down to Adangbe or Ada West, and then Keta and Ketu South. Number is 0550 900 006.
Yeah.
On the line is, who's on the line? Senator Dokuto. Dr. Senator Dokuto is the Deputy Director of Health for Volta Region. They've been wearing their blazers or that reflective clothing throughout the weekend. What have they been up to? What's the situation? Senator, thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Bernard, and good morning to all your listeners as well.
So, from my understanding, a humanitarian crisis could soon become a health crisis based on the situation. What's your public health assessment of the situation in your coverage area, and what are the immediate needs of the people in that place?
So, thank you very much. You have very well said, usually when there are disasters of this nature, there are health implications. So for the Disaster Management Committee, health plays an integral part. And as a service, we also have our public health emergency management systems that has been built and has been made more resilient by the COVID-19 pandemic that we faced a couple of years ago. So what we have done is to do a quick, rapid assessment of the situation, and that is what they interest you at this moment. So for now, as of yesterday, we have close to 12,000 displaced populations. So our first immediate concern is to make sure that the 12,000 people are safe and they are free from any immediate risk. So some of them are in safe havens, especially in North Tongue, the worst affected district in the Volta region. And we have ensured that, first of all, the sanitary conditions in the camps is quickly improved. We have also made mobile teams available to them. We are providing psychosocial support. And then we are at hand also to deal with any health emergencies. But what is also important is to continue the education on proper health behavior that will prevent some of the waterborne diseases. Obviously, what we really want to avoid is something like cholera, because that is the most common epidemic that may arise of a disaster of this nature. If you go to North Tongue, whilst we were there for the rapid assessment, about 25% of Mesa is underwater. I have made people with even story buildings that have had their roofs almost covered by water. Some of the sanitary issues, so some of the committee members use all kinds of latrines, pit latrines. There are graves there. So all these have been, people are exposed to this at this point. They've mixed up with the water and they are running everywhere, and people will have to cross from there to safe havens. The first safe haven that was identified, unfortunately, St. Kizito, has also been engulfed by the water, so people would have to be crossing. Now, there's no water there. There's also no electricity. So NADMO VRA have been working around the clock to ensure that they have water, because people are drinking from some of this water that is already contaminated, so people can get waterborne diseases. As a health service, what we need currently is first medicines and non-medicines consumables. We are in touch with the Director General of the Ghana Health Service every day. We give him technical reports. They are supporting. He's also in touch with all the stakeholders to ensure that we get everything that we need to be able to respond to this disaster. We have to settle our displaced health workers. They also need support. Some of our facilities have been closed because of the flood. We need support to be able to continue to render services. We have to organize outreaches, mobilize doctors, nurses, to be able to reach the populations that have been displaced as of now. We don't know. We project that the situation can get worse. We are just doing contingency planning for the worst case scenario. One hospital that provides service significantly to the people of South Tongue, that is the Richard Novati Hospital, has also been closed down. So luckily we have a second hospital within that enclave, that is the South Tongue District Hospital. So we are doing some contingency planning so that we'll be able to manage the pressure that will come to them because of the closure of Richard Novati Hospital. Now, we have to enhance surveillance. That means that we have to be on the alert. So we've already analyzed our data over the past 5 years, especially with diarrheal diseases, so that any time we see an increased incidence of diarrheal cases, that means that it's an alert for us. So even as we work to give good education for people to go about their duties and tasks whilst avoiding some of these diseases, we know that it is still possible that people can contract some of these diseases. We have to have a surveillance system that is extremely alert. We are disseminating the case definitions, things to look out for. We are doing quick refresher courses for community-based surveillance volunteers, our health workers at the periphery, and the health workers in the main facilities who will be consulting our mobile teams as well, who would be engaging the populace within this period so that we are able to pick any epidemic early and then avoid it. Adidoma Hospital has had its water system interrupted because of the flooding situation. So we are again working with partners to see if that also can be fixed now, because one Central Tongue is one of the affected districts. We have to be ready to handle any kind of emergencies. So far from our report, we don't have an epidemic yet. We have not lost any life yet. So our focus is on prevention and building a resilient health system. This is called a disaster because it overwhelms the system within the immediate localities. So support is required from everywhere. So we are engaging stakeholders from within and from without. So anybody who's ready to support is also free to do so.
Senator, we had a report from
central government.
We had a report from MEFE that the places of convenience had been inundated and the water was mixed with it, so that there's a possibility of people drinking or using water which is contaminated by feces. The question I'm asking you is, what type of diseases are you anticipating, and what kind of preparation are you putting in place to ensure that if there's an outbreak of diarrhea or whatever, you would be able to cope with the numbers?
So the diseases we are anticipating, mostly diarrheal diseases, and then what can easily give rise to an epidemic is cholera. I've touched on first the coordinating activities that we are putting in place for us to be ready, and then secondly, the appropriate education to go to the population so that they avoid drinking the contaminated water, hand washing, or the infection prevention and control measures communicated to them. Then provision of good drinking water. That is also going to avert it. Then as a health system, we are stockpiling the medications that we would need in case something slips out and there is an epidemic. So the intravenous fluids, Ringer's lactase 541, ORS, all of that is being stockpiled at vantage points so that we'll be able to deal with any kind of disaster. So to reiterate, prevention key. So risk communication, social mobilization is going on. The contingency measures to deal with any case that we identify, and also picking them up early. So enhanced surveillance so that we'll be able to pick any diarrhea at this point, quickly investigate and put in measures. So that is what we are doing as a health service.
Thank you for talking to us. I suspect we'll be talking a lot in the coming days. So I will leave you to go back to work. Dr. Senanu Jokoto is the Deputy Director of Ghana Health Service for the Volta region. And he's given us two important facts. He says 25% of MEFE is underwater. And he says from his estimation, about 12,000 people displaced. So now we're getting, and Sergi has promised a full interview, which I believe we will do in the next hour or so, which will give us more definitive numbers. All right. So this is serious. This is nobody should downplay the seriousness of what we're doing. And we have videos showing water levels as well. And the problem is that more water could be spilled. Mm-hmm. You know, I could not get confirmation from the VR if they will stop the spillage, because they have to balance keeping those down south safe and keeping the dam intact. And if the water keeps rising, they cannot afford to allow the dam to break. So they'll have to spill. You get it? Which is a lesser of two evils, because if the dam breaks, we are all dead. I think that's how we should see it. I got an analysis of the areas south of the Volta Lake, and from North Town to Shai Osudoku to Ningo Pram Pram to Adan East to South Town to Central Town, all of those areas will be affected massively if the dam were to break. So the VRA's approach has been spill, but manage the spill so that it doesn't have too much too soon. But even with that, 25% of Mepe is underwater, according to Dr. Senanu's report. So if you have more water being spilled, more communities will be affected. And the most pressing need is water. That's drinking water, food of all kinds, mattresses, tents, beddings, mosquito nets, blankets, detergents. And if you want to send money, we've now announced a Momo number, Citi Foundation 0550 900006. So basically 05509, and then there are 4 zeros in between the 9 and the 6. And the reference will be, what do you call the reference? It's a flood support or something.
Yeah,
flood.
so relief for lower
It's too long.
water.
Now I'm talking of the
Momo one, flood support.
Flood support, yes. So 055, of course, everything that comes in within this period, we know is for that. We just wanted to be sure. Do you have highlights of the interview with the engineer? I wanted to just play some of that. Now, I need to also say that we are running an irregular program schedule today. So even though I'm going to leave at 10, when Chantel comes in, she's going to continue with some other person to do this topic. We're running this the whole day till we get more information on. So we're not going to, Branch in the City is going to take a different form. But let me do this interview before we do that. Branch in the City is going to take a different form. Sky, if you can stay with her for a bit to just keep the data going. Who do I have on the line now? Who? Chris Gordon. Prof, you sent me a video, what do you call it? A map which really scared me. And I don't want to scare people, but when I spoke to the VRA, the guy said we are 277.26. The maximum operating level is 277.50. On Saturday, the thing rose by 0.12. He did not deny when I told him that if the thing rises Saturday level for 3 straight days, the dam could break. So my question to you is, if the dam broke, or the dam were to break, do you have an assessment of which areas will be affected and what will actually happen?
Bernard, as the map I sent you and the graph I sent you also, you see, before the dam was built, the flow from Akosombo was up to 5,000 meters per second in the rainy season around September, October. So this is where we should be having the highest. And at the lowest, which is in March, it was down to maybe even 5. So the river was almost stagnant. And in those days, when you had the high flows, basically the area from the whole Songo area, the Keta area, in fact, when you look at the map, you see the original flow path of the river parallel to the main stream. So that whole Keta lagoon area from Alakule, all of that would be underwater. So the fact that VRA are trying to prevent a catastrophic break of this dam, which remember was designed as a rock-filled dam because of the danger of seismic events, is key. VRA are trying to protect the lives and industry of millions of Ghanaians. If the dam were to go, not only the area below Akosombo, but the whole Pong Dam would also leak. So we have to protect our assets by taking these preventive measures of gradually releasing the flow. He also pointed out they're not even releasing they haven't opened all the spill gates at home yet. They still have several that they are yet to open. So my sympathy goes out to all the people who are affected by the spill and the property. Thank God no lives are lost, but remember, all the animals are also being affected. The health hazards, as pointed out by the environmental health people, are also there, but it could be much worse. This thing could be like the dam that broke in, I believe, was it Libya?
Yes, Libya.
Yes, it could be, it would wash away millions of people's property and lives. All the tourist resorts that we have spent money to try and develop would go. And if the drainage was not fast enough, it would even go round the Shai area down to the Dahuenia side, which was all the original floodplain of the Volta. So this is something that we have to take as a national emergency, and VRA are trying to protect life and property as much as possible. I served on their environmental management program for the Lower Volta, and I know how much time and effort they put in trying to safeguard people's lives. So please, what we are seeing now is nothing to what could be if they do not take these preventive measures. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Chris Gordon, who is an environmental toxicologist, who is a really, really useful scientist to speak to. It's 10 o'clock. We'll bring you the news at 10. But this radiothon continues. We're raising support for flood victims from Esuojaman through to Shai Osudoku, to North Tong, Central Tong, South Tong, to Dangbe West, all the way to Keta and Ketu South. About 10 districts affected by flooding. Mepe, 25% of the town is underwater. 12,000 people displaced so far, according to the Ghana Health Service Deputy Director for Health. When Chantel takes over the show after the news, we'll continue with this conversation. We'll do more interviews. We have a mobile number, 0550-900-006. Send in your donations. You can bring in food or water, or you can bring in other relief items to support. Let's go
and if you are a volunteer or you have time on your hand, or you can, if you can also spare some time, please go to the ground yourself and provide some volunteering, work there. Right. I mean, the people are in dire need of support. So I urge all of you, if you can leave your job for a moment, to go there, reach out and support family. Let's get old people move from their respective, homes if they have to. Take people to the hospital. You can maybe take people across the water where necessary. Hand, food items, relief items to people in distress. Please, this is the time that we need to come together to help and turn the situation, turn the tide around.